I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Winds, and this is the Encore Summit. And I can tell you what a wonderful day we've had. A lot of great conversation, a lot of solutions being talked about. It really is an exciting time here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Great people in the room, and you're one of them. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what you do.
Yeah, hi. Pleasure to be here. AnnMarie Boudreau, CEO of the Board of Trade.
Okay, AnnMarie, talk to me about the intersection between the Board of Trade and this summit. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so actually a couple of years ago, the Board of Trade undertook a piece of research supported by NLWIC on the impact of older workers and, what sort of population of older workers exists throughout the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Okay. What sort of access would we have? What are the barriers that are keeping older workers from, re-entering or entering initially into the workforce? We know as a province, we have a declining population. We know that the birth rate has continued to go down. So from a people perspective, we don't have access to the labor pool. We don't have that resource that we need to keep all of the employers and all of the companies in Newfoundland and Labrador at capacity. So older workers has to be a natural part of that labor force solution, and they're already here. A lot of the barriers that you would have in terms of recruiting people to come to your community, with older workers, you don't have them. They're already people who are integrated and part of your community. They call Newfoundland and Labrador home. They know that it snows, and they're okay with it. Yeah. So we did a really fascinating piece of research and learned that 43,000 Newfoundlanders and Labradorians were in that pool of being able to reattach or attach to the workforce. So that's a lot of people, a lot of access. When you think about the opportunities that, our province is on the cusp. If you look at the projects, in the mining industry, the hydro MOU that was recently announced, all of the construction, the new homes that are needed. When you look at the reality that we are facing right now, finding people is the number one issue outside of tariffs at the moment, but is the number one issue, kind of facing businesses. So older workers has to be a part of the solution as we look for people moving forward.
Big sort of chunks were talked about today, whether it was culture shift, whether it was big terms like ageism, a lot of talk about policy, a lot of talk about upskilling, education, retooling, a lot of talk about technology. Which were the pieces that really jumped off the page for you as saying, there's a real opportunity for us right there?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, there was a lot of the policy discussion that really kind of struck with me. I think when we look to workforces or employers around, how do we create that framework so that older workers are a viable part of their solution moving forward. I think we need government, certainly at the provincial and federal levels. I think we need them enabling, older workers to be a part of that workforce. There's a lot of things around older workers right now. One of the things that we heard when we did our research, older workers in coming back to work and helping to fill that labor pool gap, they don't want their pensions disrupted. Right. And they need to know that, the things that they have in their life and that are set right now, that they're not going to unintentionally take a step backwards. So we can't do this without working certainly with government. And I think there is a role for associations like the Board of Trade and other industry associations for us to come together and kind of put some of the framework together that employers can work within and start to figure some of it out.
It's so true. I think it requires effort from so many groups, government, industry, academia, and community, largely. Everybody's sort of working together because this is a big piece. And a lot of people that you talk about, what are you as the Board of Trade, what are you most excited about in terms of engaging this workforce?
So not only is it obviously, going to be a solution and a viable part of the solution moving forward and probably allow organizations and businesses to achieve things they otherwise wouldn't, I was really struck today to hear some of the conversations around the stigma of ageism. Mm-hmm. Some of this is just a little tweak of our thinking, and we need to celebrate and recognize older workers for the contributions that they make and what they bring. The reference earlier to retirement and, this very outdated statistic of 65 is the retirement age. And that age was set in 1932.
Yeah.
It's 2025.
I know.
Why on earth are we still constructed and confined to this weird, sort of outdated model that, we would be aligning for retirement age or aiming for retirement age at 65? People aren't ready to exit the workforce, and the workforce isn't ready to lose them.
Exactly.
And I think that's the thing that we really need to acknowledge. We need to celebrate success, and we need, fascinating conversations today around what does transitioning look like.
Mm-hmm.
You can be done with one job and go on and embrace a new opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think even the flexibility around that doesn't mean 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And employment, I think COVID handed us that. COVID in one way did help move us forward in terms of adaptability and flexibility. So we need to apply those lessons and what we learned through that time to this.
AnnMarie, you actually perfectly encapsulated the day. I mean, that's fantastic. And I'm so glad that you came here sort of open mind and you walk away learning some things that you didn't know. And now that makes its way back into the Board of Trade, and it just spreads like wildfire. So thank you very much for your perspective. Thank you for being here.
No, pleasure to be here. Thank you.